Hi everyone, it's Jung here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I created this card. I am using the June 2019 Glimmer Hot Foil of the Month kit from Spellbinders, and it is called the Radiant Flower Set. You will be getting these 6 hot foil plates of the floral and leaf images, and you will get their coordinating dies. You'll also get a pink foil with the kits. Alright, so while my glimmer machine is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and choose my cardstock colors. I was just showing you that I keep all my cardstock scraps separated by tone. I keep one bag filled with red, yellows, and pinks, and another one filled with blues, greens, and purples. So I'm going to be trimming down my cardstock to make it easier to foil multiple images at once. And you'll see what I mean here coming up. This is the pink foil that comes with the kit, and I'm just going to trim it down to fit the size of this flower. You can see the green light has turned on my glimmer machine. That means it's ready to go. I'm going to be putting down the shiny side of the foil down first, and then my cardstock. And then next I'll put down my layers. I have a thin shim, and then that mint colored cardstock that I just trimmed as an extra layer, and then my spacer pad. I pushed the timer button and I'm waiting for it to heat up. I believe it's 60 seconds. Obviously my video is sped up, and when the light is solid it means it's ready to go. So I will remove it from the base, and then I will take it to my platinum die cutting machine. And I like to go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure that it's foiled really well, especially if I use thicker cardstock. So this is the best part, the peel and reveal. And you see I have a little extra foiling around the edges, but I'm not going to worry about that because these come with the coordinating dies and they cut pretty close to the edge, so you're not going to see them at all. And look how perfectly this one foiled. I just love the color and I love the way it turned out. Okay, so just for a little bit of contrast, I decided that I wanted to do the leaf images with the blush foil. And those two smaller pieces are just the inner pieces of the flower, so I'm going to keep on using the pink foil with those. So I must have moved the plate when I was transferring it over, and the little inner pieces of the flowers ended up foiling a little too much, so all the detail is lost. And I went ahead and kept that in the video so you can see that I definitely make mistakes and I don't get a perfect foil every time, but it's an easy fix. I'm just going to go back and refoil them. And you can see what I'm talking about right here. I'm going to go ahead and foil multiple images of the flowers and the inner pieces, and one more of the stem image and a couple more leaves off camera. So this is the Everyday Sentiments 2 Glimmer Foil set, and I'm going to be using the sentiment that says thanks a bunch. I use this set quite often. I get a lot of use out of it. I love the general sentiments and I love the size as well. So I decided to go ahead and use the blush foil so it would coordinate with the leaves, and I'm just going to trim that down. Put the shiny side of the foil down first, and then I decided this would be straight onto my card base, so I'm just going to trim a piece of white cardstock, and I always leave room to trim it down because I don't know how straight my foiling will turn out, and so I always cut it bigger than what I need. I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. And it turned out perfectly. I'll go ahead and use my magnetic tweezers that came with my machine and put the hot plate on the cooling pad. Now I'm going to be using the matching coordinating dies, and I am going to tape them to my foiled image, but I want to make sure that I don't tape the foiled part. So I'm keeping the tape to the die and the outside part of the cardstock. And the reason I'm trying to be careful with that is I don't want the adhesive of the tape to lift up any of the foiling that I did. It also depends on how sticky the tape is. My purple tape isn't that sticky, and I'm sure that the foiled image would be fine, but I just wanted to go ahead and be cautious, especially since I took the time to foil all these images. I'm going to go ahead and run them through my Spellbinders Platinum die cutting machine, and I love the way that these die cuts cut so closely to the line. I know some die cuts leave a lot of space, which is completely fine, but I really do like that these die cut so close. Another positive of these die cutting so close is that you don't have to worry about the overfoiling that I showed you at the beginning. They just cut it right off. I'm going to be using the largest of the Spellbinders Fancy Edge rectangle nesting dies, and I will cut that out of the white cardstock that I foiled the sentiment on. And so this die cuts it a little bit more wider than I wanted to for my card base, so I'm just gonna cut off one side, and so I'm trying to line up the scallops so that when I die cut just this side off, it'll look nice and even. I hope that makes sense. If I didn't explain it very well, hopefully you caught it while watching the video. So off camera, I had started to do a little bit of ink blending with the Distress Oxide in Worn Lipstick. And then I decided I wanted to go ahead and die cut it first and then add more color. And that is just an old makeup brush that I was using. I'm just going to be fussing around with some of the flowers and the stems on my card base to see how I want to arrange them. Since my Thanks a Bunch card panel is a bit shorter than the A2 sized, I ultimately decided that the stems were going to be too long for this card panel. So I'm just going to arrange the flowers on my card, and then I will end up trimming down the stems to make them look just like leaves. I started to attach the flowers, but then I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more interest to the bottom of the card panel. All the floral images are going to be at the top, so I wanted to do a little bit something extra on the bottom. I have a lot of white space there, and so I decided that I wanted to add a little bow with twine. I'm going to be using my tweezers from EK Success since I seem to be all thumbs, and these little pinch tweezers are perfect for if you need an extra set of fingers. I really like the effect that this natural colored twine added to my card, especially since it's a floral card, and I think it added just the right amount of interest to the bottom of the card. I'm going to be adding some fun foam to the back of this card panel to pop it off of my card base, and I'm just going to trim it down and add some double-sided tape. Fun foam is definitely a cheaper alternative to foam tape or foam squares, foam dots, but I do find myself going through a lot of double-sided tape as well. Anyhow, I'm going to adjust my bow a little bit and then trim off the ends. Now I'm going to go back to adhering my flowers, and I want a lot of dimension to my card, and so I'm going to glue down a couple of flowers. I will use thin foam squares for a couple more of the flowers, and then I will actually use the thicker foam dots for this flower. And I will stick them down. And you see that I'm using two colors of cardstock, a maroon and a kind of raspberry pink color. And then in the leaves, I ended up die cutting them from like a mint color, a teal color, and a couple of shades of green. You saw there how I trimmed off the stem, and I'm just going to use them as if they were leaves tucked up under the flowers. I wanted to use them because it adds a different size of leaf, and I really like the effect that gives. And then for the leaves, I decided to just use my liquid glue since I'm tucking them behind the flowers. I really enjoy getting the Spellbinders Glimmer Kit of the Month every month. I love the effect that foiling gives. It's so elegant and pretty. And I especially am happy with this month. The floral images are so pretty, but I am most happy about the coordinating dies. If you haven't tried the Glimmer Machine system for yourself yet, I highly recommend that you do. It's kind of addicting, really, and once you get the hang of it, you'll want to foil all the things. I'm just going to finish gluing my leaves down, and then for the center of my flowers, I'm going to be using the foam squares and foam dots. And that will finish off my card. I'll be sure to leave links to my blog and the Spellbinders website in the info bar below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. If you enjoyed my video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.